Welcome to the way it should be. I'm Dean.
I'm JD.
Hello, JD.
What's going on, man?
Ooh, frustration.
Yeah.
So much frustration. Yeah. This we're trying this Zoom thing. We were using Riverside before, and Riverside kind of fucking sucks, really.
Yeah, kind of problem after problem.
Yeah, we've had nothing but issues with it. I wish this cord would function the way I want it to. Hold on.
More frustration.
Bit better. Clip on there. There we go. Oh, I need some slack. That's what the issue is. I don't have enough slack. Anyway, so what's going on, bud?
Just hanging out, man. I think I burnt my wood lathe up today.
Oh, you broke another tool?
Well, it's mine this time. Yeah, so I didn't break it. It's just I got a little cheesy Harbor Freight wood lathe.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think it was ever meant to use it as much as I do.
Probably not. It's Harbor Freight, so
yeah, because I've used the crap out of it.
You get what you pay for at Harbor Freight.
For sure. And the idea with this lathe was see if I'm any good at it or if I even enjoy it. And if I am, then buy a good one.
Well, we know you're not going to be any good at it because you just started.
Actually, I'm pretty good at it.
You're not that good, but
I'm pretty good.
But the more you do it, the better you'll get. So
I'm pretty good at it
like
already.
it. So you're not. I've seen your work. It's not very good. You're Michelangelo.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So what's going on in the news?
Oh man, I don't know. Who cares? We're an informative show. We're very informative.
Very informative. So
we're using this Zoom. I don't know. Maybe we can do stuff with it later, but I don't know. Like play clips and stuff, but we'll figure that out. But I did have something. Where is that at? I wanted to do. Okay. I thought this was kind of funny. South Carolina seeks to restart executions with the electric chair and firing squad. Go. What are your thoughts?
I'm not really. I don't think I'm for the death penalty.
You're not. Oh, okay. We couldn't differ more. I'm totally.
Well, I don't. Okay, so let me back up. I'm still. I used to be someone that was like, probably I don't want to say hardcore death penalty, but absolutely. But over the course of the last couple years,
hardcore for death.
Over the course of the last couple years, with I guess my progression into the Libertarian Party, or not even the progression in the Libertarian Party, but kind of expanding my views a little bit more, thinking like I don't know that I don't trust the state to make all kinds of other decisions. Why would I trust them to kill somebody? You know what I mean? So I'm still working that out in my own head.
I could see where you're going, but I'm all for it. There's just some people that deserve to die.
Okay, I'm not against it on a like that, right? Like there are some people, there are some things that are heinous, but I don't know that. I don't know. I just, it's hard to wrap your mind around. If I don't trust them on all this other stuff, why do I trust them to put someone to death?
I mean, I see where you're coming from, and I kind of agree because they've come out with a lot of people who've been exonerated, There's some people, the evidence is so overwhelming. There's no debating that they did it, and they don't need to be around. They need to go. I don't care if it's a state that puts them down, or if it's a family member of one of the victims, or it's just some dude off the streets that's like, I like killing. Oh, I'll do it. I'll fucking kill that guy. I don't give a shit. There's just some people that don't deserve to breathe air anymore, and they should go. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, I don't think I disagree.
I was reading this case about this 5-year-old girl. This just happened like a week ago. She's 5 years old. Her mom and dad were giant pieces of shit. They lived in squalor. They never fed her. They kicked her out of the house at 5 years old. They threw her out of the house. The mom threw her out, and her and I guess some other members of her family, like sisters or brothers or whatever, went to a homeless encampment because they had nowhere else to go, where she was promptly raped and murdered by a 27-year-old man. That guy deserves to die. There's no debating it, in my opinion. That guy doesn't deserve to live. I don't care who fucking puts him down. Somebody needs to, whether it's the state or me or you or one of the neighbors of that little girl. Somebody needs to kill that piece of shit because that's all he deserves. He doesn't deserve to live.
Yeah,
That's
I
how I
mean,
look
what
at it.
was was he caught in the act? What is it? Did the article even go into that? That's where that's my hang up on the death penalty because I'm right there with you. Don't, some people shouldn't be there anymore. And that guy sounds like he's one, but
They got DNA evidence from the girl, so
okay, yeah, well,
which is good enough for me.
that's yeah, good enough for me too.
Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, when it's there's no arguing about it. Like you can clearly see that this guy is the one that did it. Like if you've got a girl splattered with cum, that's been
Wow,
raped and murdered, right? What if you got the
this
you've got
felt
if you've got the perps jizz all over this kid, right? And hey, there's only one way this could have got there, being raped and murdered, and you've got her DNA under his fingernails or however he killed him,
for sure.
killed her, the guy's guilty. That guy doesn't. I don't think. I think it's irresponsible for society to continue to allow this piece of shit to live. That's how I see it. And I don't care if the state kills him. I don't care if it's a family member that kills him. I don't give a fuck who kills him. Somebody needs to kill him. The guy needs to die. He's forfeited his right to live. Anybody that would rape and murder a 5-year-old deserves to die. Period. End of story. And nobody
Yeah,
can change my mind on
no,
that.
I don't disagree with anything you said there. It's just so when it comes to the burden of proof,
It's the
maybe
evidence. That's what it is. You
yeah.
got to have irrefutable evidence, proof that this guy did it. You can't just go off of hearsay. Like a lot of these people are convicted because of hearsay evidence or eyewitness evidence, which is garbage. Everybody knows it's garbage. Or the
So
prosecutor
what?
lied or withheld something. But if you have so the burden of proof needs to be much, much higher in a death penalty case. I mean, much, much higher. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. There is no fucking doubt that this guy did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There
I
can't
don't.
be any doubt whatsoever that somebody committed the crime worthy to be put to death. And you have to have that super high level of proof that they did it. And then if it comes out later on that the prosecutor or a cop or somebody was in there fucking with the evidence or whatever, or withholding evidence, or the judge was prejudiced against the case, those motherfuckers need to be in line right behind them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So if you're a part of the state and you're actively trying to get this guy put away because you're a prosecutor and it's going to make
Career.
your career or whatever, and you withheld evidence that would have exonerated this guy, and it's found out later. Yeah, even if the guy wasn't put to death, right? Let's say he was in like there's a guy that was been in prison for I don't know how many years, 30 something years, just got released because they finally figured it out. Well, if the prosecutor was still alive or whatever, let's just say he's in there because the state fucked up or somebody within that trial process committed a crime to get him there. Those motherfucker needs to go to prison too and do day for day that motherfucker did, right? So there needs to be penalties associated with lying. There needs to be an extraordinarily high level of evidentiary standards, presented. And if you know for a fact, like this guy walked, like one guy goes into a Walmart and starts shooting it up, and the cops arrest him with the fucking gun in his hand. There's no debating it. You have to have absolute proof. But
Yeah,
as long as you
I
have
think
that, I say put the motherfucker down.
I think I'm completely okay with what you're saying. Yeah, it's just as it stands right now.
Yeah, it's a fucked up system.
I'm
But
little.
there are there's some people that are completely against it because they say it's cruel, it's inhumane, it's barbaric. No, it's exactly what the piece of shit deserves. It deserves to die. Some people don't deserve to breathe air anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm actually against life in prison. I think, they always talk about uh the death penalty is cruel and inhumane or whatever. I think locking somebody in a cage for the rest of their life, especially if it's solitary confinement, that's cruel and inhumane. That's cruel and unusual punishment. I'm against life imprisonment. That's fucking if they're gonna put them in prison for life, just put them down. It's just that simple. If they're never gonna get out of prison, you're going to prison for life, just kill them. Gives a fuck. What's the
So
difference?
so the Walmart thing, kind of playing off that for a minute. I watched I recently listened to, I think it was I think it was Rogan's, and I can't remember her name, but she has a show, I think it's on Hulu called Trafficked. Have you ever seen this?
Never have. No.
Anyway, she did an episode, in this latest season, she did an episode on ghost guns. And I remember when that term first came out, I was like, what are you talking about? But anyway, she
Yeah,
went
because
in.
the gun community doesn't use that stupid term, or didn't
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, and I think even more so than that, I even when I first heard that term, I don't think I had ever even heard of a 3D printed gun as well.
Oh yeah, that's the future.
Yeah. So she interviews this, like, what, you may know the guy's name. I wish I should have wrote it down, but like he's the guy that runs like the biggest website on how
Oh,
to,
Cody Wilson.
yeah, Cody Wilson
Yeah,
interviewed that
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And
You guys, my hero.
yeah, I was watching it. I was like,
Sort
this
of.
dude is great. Kind of an
Yeah.
asshole.
Oh
Kind of
sure.
a
Yeah.
kind of a deal. But anyway, at some point in time, she interviewed some like California, like these guys were like 19 or 20. They're like, we can't buy a gun. Yet they have all these awesome 3D printed guns.
Mm-hmm.
And they're out in the desert shooting them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, then she interviewed a bunch of gangbangers that are selling them. Dude, they're buying and building these guns for like $200 and selling them for $1,500.
For
These
sure. Yeah.
3D printing guns. They're selling them to other gangbangers who can't
Yeah.
buy guns. But anyway, the whole episode she did, I thought, was heavily skewed in a anti-gun kind of way. She didn't interview any.
Talking.
Yeah, right. And she interviewed no. I was really disappointed because she sounded like someone that on Rogan's podcast that was really looking at things non-biased, and maybe she did on everything else, but when it came to this, I felt like it was not at all. She interviewed a guy that says, like, January 6th should have been, I think it was a Boogaloo Boy or whatever. January 6th should have been more, should have stepped up a notch, I think is how he said it. Which
we started on that.
There's more to that. I mean, they just released that video of anyway, I'm not going to get into that, but she didn't interview anyone. And I don't personally have any 3D printed guns. I would actually kind of like to now after watching that video, but I'd like to get one. But
I would like to have the ability to do it. I don't have it myself, but it would be something.
But that's what I'm getting at. She interviewed nobody like me and you, not extremist, regular guys, regular people, or whatever. And I thought, man,
would I be a non-extremist? Probably not. I probably would fall into that camp.
Okay, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People that
you're probably closer to the non-extremist than I am.
Holding down a regular job, living life, not a criminal,
right?
Whatever. None of those. But anyway, I will say this: I had never really looked into it. The idea of it seems awesome to me, and I am kind of curious now. I'm kind of curious, and so is it something that have you looked into them? Have you looked, because it was like where you can buy a lower or buy a receiver, and then it's like 80% complete, and you take like a hand drill and a Dremel, and you can finish it.
Oh no, Cody Wilson has gone even further. He's got his Ghost Gunner 2, I think it's up to now. He's got these CNC desktop mills that you just take a block of aluminum and stick it in there, and it will mill out an AR receiver for you.
Yeah, so there were some of those, and then there were some that were like, some kind of polymer, that the ones of polymer that you could just order and then kind of drill out the areas. And basically your receiver,
polymer 80 does that.
Yeah. Your receiver is a polymer, and everything else you just buy parts online.
Yeah. There's AR receivers that are like that. They have a little, a jig, I guess, and you just use a router to finish it up. Yeah. It's 80% complete. And then you just do the other 20%, and there you go. You got an unregistered.
It was pretty interesting.
And serial number to gun. I hate saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the American tradition. Like, that's people have been building guns in their garages since the foundation of this country. And, I think there's some court cases right now working their way through, like the Supreme Court, is going to rule on this, I think. In fact, California was trying to pass a bill that was or they're probably will going to pass it. But it's really hardcore on the ghost guns, and because of the cases that other pro gun organizations have been winning against the ATF was actually in there going, your law goes too far. Like the
Oh,
ATF was saying, the California law, this goes too far. You can't do this. It's unconstitutional, which is shocking that you'd have the ATF arguing for something like that. But there you go. Yeah, they were arguing for homemade guns because that's traditional in this country. People have been doing
well,
them for years.
and I thought that Cody, what did you say his name was? Cody Wilson?
Cody Wilson, yeah.
At one point in that argument or in that debate or conversation interview, whatever, excuse me, at one point in there, he says, you know, you already live, the technology is there. We already live in this world.
Yeah, it's there for sure.
So you're not stopping it.
No.
You're not. And his it was funny in his little desktop mill where you mill out the aluminum.
Yeah.
They had the Second Amendment. There's like a little tab inside the machine. And it's for something, but anyway, the Second Amendment's printed on it. That's and the company information. I guess that's the only place. So you got to dig into this machine to get the
Yeah.
to get
It's
the
pretty
stuff.
cool.
But
I would like to get one, but you know, I don't have the money for it.
are they expensive?
They're not too expensive. It's just like, what am I gonna do with it? Like, how many guns am I gonna actually produce? I got more guns than I know what to do with right now. So, so I don't need something that will let me just sit there and I'm gonna print another gun today. I don't need
Yeah.
that. I don't need that in my life.
I don't know. It was very interesting. It is a good
Yeah.
episode.
Do you know anything about 3D metal 3D printing?
No.
I think it's called sintering 3D or laser sintering, like with an S. Like,
How
but
good?
it's basically,
Go ahead.
But
Go
it's
ahead.
basically like a metal powder. So that I don't know how they powder metal, but they got a metal powder, and then there's a laser that goes through and it prints. But that laser hits that powder and it just starts building up a layer of solid metal on that. And when you're done, you've got a metal gun. It's a metal gun part. It's pretty cool. I've seen like people make Colt 45s, the 1911s with them. I've seen that. Yeah, you can 3D print any kind of piece of metal with it. They're doing it with suppressors now. They're making suppressors with that laser laser sintering technology. Like a lot of new suppressor companies are coming out with titanium suppressors that are 3D printed because you can the baffle designs, you can do all kinds of crazy baffle designs and really get the decibels down and reduce the back pressure on your bolt. It makes your gun work better and last longer. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. A lot of stuff. But like, I think that to what you just said, like this Cody Wilson guy, he probably hit the nail on the head when he said technology's there. It's not stopping at this point. It's not going to stop it. So
it's not going to stop. It's already there. We're not going to
so
change. You can't stop the signal.
Yeah. So, either get on board with it or, it's like every other gun argument. Either you don't do it if you don't want to do it, but you're not at this point, you're not going to stop criminals from doing it.
Nope. Especially if you can ban the equipment. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to ban 3D printing technology to stop this one thing? That's the issue is they're going after one thing, right? They're going after ghost guns. But at the same time, you can't really do that. Are you going to ban machining altogether?
Yeah.
Are you going to ban 3D printing? Because those technologies aren't going to, you need those things to do everything else in the world. And now they're just being used to make things that you don't like.
Yeah.
So I don't, what is the end goal here?
Right. And it didn't, and that's kind of another thing on her, she never said on her little episode on Ghost Guns, she kind of hinted around legislation, but
if I can use
drugs
a 3D
are legal
printer,
right now, illegal. So
yeah, if I can use a 3D printer to print out a Glock 19 frame, right? And then I can go as a gangbanger, it cost me $10 to do it. I go out and blast some dudes. I can take the slide and barrel off, and then I can just melt the fucking receiver down in a burn pit, and now there's no evidence that I did anything. So
yeah,
you're not going to stop it. You just can't stop it. I don't know. I don't know. We live in a dangerous world, so people are just going to accept that things are dangerous, or we go full totalitarian, which I'm not totally in favor of, but I'm not against it either if it's the right person in charge.
If it's your guy. So speaking of
Yeah.
total, so the authoritarians, maybe Gavin Newsom. Did you see his the whole little
No,
Target
what did
thing?
a dipshit do now?
So I guess he's at Target, and
Why would Gavin Newsom be going to Target? Has he even heard of Target?
so this is his. He was talking to, I guess, mayors of the city, and he says he's at a Target, and there's a guy that just walks out with a basket full of stuff because California has made it like what 900. Yeah. And
I think they raised it. Some places raised it.
Yeah. Well, he asked the cashier, he was like, "Are you not going to follow that guy?" And she goes, "No." And she doesn't even realize it's Gavin Newsom, right? She's like, "No, the governor's made it where they can just walk out, nothing can be done to it." And he was like, that is not the case. We're the whatever that. So that's we're the 10th. We have there's only 10 other states that are more strict on gun or on not gun on theft than we are, which I don't know where he comes up with that number. But anyway, so
where does he come up with any of his numbers?
Who knows? But anyway, so at some point when he's kind of getting on to this girl and he says, "I want to talk to your manager," she realizes that he's Gavin Newsom and the governor. And then she wants pictures and he's like, "No, we need to talk about this." And he's like, "Do you know who I am?" or whatever. But then at the end of this whole little speech he's given about watching this go down, he goes, "Well, why do I even pay for my $250 worth of stuff if we can just walk out with it?" We're like, "Dude, you've made the policy.
Yeah, this is your bills. This is your shit."
Yeah, but it was so incredibly. What's the term? There's a term, but it was so incredibly like he just had no clue that this was going on, and it goes on right in front of him. He's just completely oblivious to it.
Yeah.
How he could be, I don't know, because like Walgreens and CVS and stuff are pulling out of certain areas because they're like losing more money than.
He's just so out of touch. I don't know, man. I don't know how somebody could be that out of touch with the world around him.
Yeah, if we're not,
it's not like he's Xi Jinping that can like, I don't know. He's got to read the news every once in a while. Goddamn. I mean, I'm sure he's not a stupid person.
Well, yeah. But he's
no, I don't think. Yeah, that's what it is. I don't think people that get to that level are stupid. You got to be kind of conniving to get that far anyway. But
well, either way, it was just hilarious because he came to he came to the conclusion that other people came right off the bat. Like, why do I pay for my stuff if people can just walk out? I'll pay for my $350. Anyway,
yeah,
I thought it was funny. Pull that clip up if you. I think I sent it to you, but. Pull that clip up if you want. It's pretty good. So
maybe we can get Chad to put that in there. I haven't seen it, but we'll see.
Yeah. So what do you think about this Ben Shapiro rap? Going to the next thing. We already talked about that. No, we talked about that.
No, we haven't talked about it. It's actually I actually enjoyed the song. It was actually I'd never listened to that guy before. What's his name?
Tom McDonald.
Tom McDonald.
Yeah. It's a heck of a rapper name.
He's not much of a rapper name. It's a pretty white boy name. Tom McDonald. But I enjoyed it. I don't normally like music like that, but I did enjoy that. I wish Shapiro had rapped more than what he did. I thought that would have been better, but yeah, I wonder how long he had to practice that to get the rhythm right,
Yeah, I watched him interviewed. He said they told him to slow down talking.
Yeah.
He's like, "I've never rapped it." I'm like,
I don't understand why they didn't let him fucking go full speed like he always does. Because he could have been like Eminem, Eminem fucking firing off real quick,
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny because you have what they call him, little Shap. That's what little Shap. That's Ben Shapiro. Yeah. But they, him and Tom McDonald. This song was gone.
It was number one for 10 days
Billboard
in the world. In the world.
So how much of it, so that kind of leads to to that thing. Like, I wonder if some of this ultra woke stuff is starting to pass. You have like,
I think so. I think people are I think average people are sick of it.
You're right.
Yeah. They're just, look at my stupid hair. God damn.
So, well, if it's starting to,
sometimes I wish I'd just hurry up and fucking go bald. That way I don't have to worry about it anymore.
So if this stuff would pass, if this stuff is passing, does the ESG and the, what do they call that? All the finance, DEI and ESG, is all that stuff
I
Do you
don't
think
know.
that dies off too, or do you think that continues? Because the culture is definitely, I think, turning away from that. You have Bud Light, and I was going to ask your opinion on this. I mean, we've talked about Bud Light ad
No, no,
nauseum, but
it could because you've got now been seeing a lot of stuff where like these big companies are starting to not require a bachelor's degree to get a job there. And
oh,
I don't
really?
know, maybe that's part of their DEI thing because a lot of minorities don't have bachelor's degrees. So they're like, well, if we're going to be more inclusive, we got to stop. But it could also, I don't know, maybe the culture is, but I doubt it. I don't know. I don't have any faith in anything anymore, except for
Well, and it just seems like
you.
there's a lot of stories out there right now. So you got like I said, the Ben Shapiro rap,
Yeah.
Sean Strickland, this UFC, I think he's a Canadian guy, UFC fighter, just
Yeah.
straight calls out this reporter for being woke. Chad, if you
He,
can, I'll send you that link. Maybe we can get that put in here. But calls the guy an
he's not the most
infection,
yeah, yeah, he's not the most eloquent speaker, but he gets
and
his point across.
he also, yeah, he's definitely not. I mean, he's a fighter, but he definitely. And
Sure.
then another thing he said is because Bud Light is sponsoring UFC again,
Mm-hmm.
so he said I'm going to go so hard on all this like anti woke stuff that Bud Light won't have a choice, but they'll either have to drop me for it or they'll you know whatever. So and then also on top of the Bud Light stuff and the culture stuff, you have Bud Light's now sponsoring Shane Gillis, the comedian.
Well, that's probably good for Shane because he drinks a lot of Bud Light.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they're now sponsoring him. So, to now you have people that are saying, okay, it needs to be, the
Is
yeah,
that a response to them getting uh, boycotted for so long? That now
right,
they're
and
having
that's
to,
what. So that's
yeah,
what people are saying. People are saying, hey, or that's what some of the commentators I've watched are saying. Like some of them say, okay, Bud Light now has gone. Bud Light sales were down 27. Their stock was down 27 billion after
that's a
the
lot.
Dylan Mulvaney
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
or excuse me, Anheuser Busch,
yeah,
all the
yeah.
Anheuser Busch. So,
Uh-huh.
but
But
you have
Bud
some
Light
people,
was their number one brand, so
yeah,
it's a huge hit.
you have some people saying, look, they're sponsoring all these kind of anti woke guys.
Mm-hmm.
So and so now we need to give them a pass. People need to start drinking Bud Light. And then you have some people on the other hand saying, not till they come out and actually say
They're not going to do that.
and have an apology.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to apologize for it because they're going to hedge their bets. You know, and be like, well, I don't know. They're not going to come out and apologize for it. I think people can just give up on that. They're not going to say we're sorry for.
So but do you think it's a win? I guess. Do you think this is a
I
win? They
think
came
them
out, they did
changing.
that.
Yeah, of course so. I think them changing their course and well, I mean, we'll see what happens. Are they only going to? They're going to go back to the roots of supporting the frat boy image that Bud Light had that like that dipshit said, or are they going to try to play both sides of the aisle there? It just we'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
just depends on what they do. So if they go back to their core demographic, the people that actually drink their beer, and they stick to that, then I think it's a win. But if they still try to play both sides of the field, then I don't know. Probably not. Probably them just
Yeah.
trying to weasel their way back in. Which I
Yeah.
think I really think that's probably what's going on. Is they're just trying to weasel their way back in. So
Well, they
I don't think they're
lost
really
so
change.
much. They lost so much by doing that. I mean,
Yeah, that's a huge fuck up.
yeah.
Not just like they could have done the thing with the tranny, right? They could have got that fucking dude on there and had their little fucking thing. But what really pissed people off was the lady in charge of that campaign coming out and basically insulting the people that buy their product.
For sure. But I think also maybe if it wouldn't have been maybe if it wouldn't have been a like I guess that Dylan Mulvaney's demographic, the people that were watching him were young people.
Mm-hmm.
And so like his audience is so a couple things like it's not necessarily that you're marketing beer to young people. That's not what people were upset about. They're like, no, you're saying it's okay for this person whose audience is young. You're supporting him and he's transition, whatever the case may be. I think he had like day by day, he had a blog or something of what his
Yeah, it was like
transition was.
360. It's like a year-long process of being
Yeah.
a fucking lunatic.
But they were saying, his audience is kids. And so but you're right on the other day. I think a lot of people, it's the same thing like the deplorable stuff, like Hillary Clinton said, like,
Yeah.
the disdain for
Yeah, I saw one thing where she came out and said like what did she say? Like everybody that supports Donald Trump is a racist or whatever. Like, yeah, that's right. Insult half the country. That's how you
Yeah.
win. Stupid bitch.
Yeah. I thought it was good. I might have said this before on here, but Dolly Parton's whole deal when they were trying to get her to bash on Trump, she said, "I'm not going to talk about my political stuff because either
Yeah,
way, it alienates half my audience."
that's
So,
right. She's very smart for
yeah.
doing that. That's the way you do it.
So,
Did you see where Rogan signed a new contract for Spotify?
yeah.
$250 million. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. God damn. Could
Yeah.
you imagine?
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
so that tags right, or that falls right into the, not that, I mean, it's weird to act like Joe Rogan is some kind of conservative or some kind of, but I think it's more just on the free speech. But they're saying Spotify giving him that contract basically tells you have to go woke, or or you're not gonna make any money. Basically, Spotify is saying, yeah, we just disproved that because this guy stood against a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
that
In
the
fact, did you see that
establishment.
podcast? Did you see I don't remember which episode it was, but he basically came out and said, I used to be on the left. I'm not anymore. I'm probably
Yeah.
more in the middle. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's
So,
because the woke left is so fucking insane. I mean, how can anybody continue to support that trash? I don't understand it.
yeah, I don't get it either. But I mean,
I'm a live and let live kind of guy. If you want to be a tranny, if you want to, fucking chop your cock off, go right ahead. It doesn't bother me. I don't give a fuck. But
you're
fucking
not gonna make me
leave it
act
at
like
us,
it's
leave it at
normal.
us. Yeah, don't force me to act like it's normal because it's not. I never will accept you as a whatever you think you are because I'm just not going to do that because you're
Such a
not.
bigot.
And yeah, for sure. Yeah, I am when it comes to that. Goddamn right I am. And I don't want it in schools. I don't want kids learning how to get blowjobs when they're 5 years old from books. I don't want stuff like that. That doesn't need to be going on. That's where it pisses me off is when they're trying to push this shit on kids in kindergarten,
Yeah.
in elementary school, shit like that. That is unbelievably evil. To be trying to be like saying, uh, just I would be upset if you were just telling a 5-year old, heterosexual sex. This is where the dick goes, and this is how you suck. Telling
Yeah.
girls how to suck a dick. I wouldn't want that going on either.
Right. Yeah.
I definitely don't want it going on for a bunch of fucking dumbass trannies with fucking mental problems.
But
They
with
should
the
be locked
Spotify
up in a fucking lunatic bin. Fucking lunatics.
but with
God
the
damn it.
Spotify stuff, I
Put
think
me in
it's
charge.
just
They're all going to a fucking camp.
wow. Anyway, with the Spotify stuff, I think it's one more thing saying, look, you don't have to be this. We're going to make money. They're going to double down on Rogan. I don't know what they gave him that first time. It was huge too.
Well,
But
initially they said people said it was 100 million, but I read a deal where they said it was probably closer to 200.
yeah.
So
Yeah, either way, these
his comment about him making a lot of money, like when he's talking about opening his club, he's like, I just need to break even. I make a lot of money. No shit. That's an understatement.
and that club's got to be killing it. I've been to the club
Yeah.
and I've looked for tickets since. I've been once and I've looked for tickets since, and it's sold on the
It's always
regular.
sold out. I would like to go
Yeah.
down there, but every time I look, it's sold out for like months and months and months.
Yeah.
They say show up, just show up down there. There's usually 10 or so tickets because somebody doesn't show up. But I don't want to drive all the way down there and then
So
get
yeah,
time to
you have
wait.
to show up 30, even if you buy tickets, you have to show up 30 minutes early because what happens is if you
They
don't show
put their
up 30
phone in a
minutes,
bag.
yeah, well, not only that, you show up 30 minutes early with tickets, but if you have tickets and you don't show up 30 minutes early, there's a chance that they sold your tickets
Oh yeah, yeah.
to someone walking up.
Crazy.
So yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I would love to go down there. I'd like to see it.
Don't
But
leave a pocket knife in your pocket either. You'll lose that crap. I lost
I
a
did
good
that.
knife.
Yeah, I did that once. I had to go pay a ticket at the Fort Worth courthouse, and I had my pocket knife with me, and they're like, you can't bring that in." I'm like, "What the fuck?" It's all right. So I went outside and I buried it under a bush.
I
It
tried to
was a
hide mine.
$200 knife. I wasn't gonna lose it.
I tried to hide mine and it was gone. And then I was like, dude, I bet these guys checking the door, the bouncer, they probably walk up and down this area when it's done
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
and just get awesome knives. So
yeah. Leave your knife in the car.
yeah, leave your knife in the car.
As simple as that.
So what's that story you had?
About what?
The China story. Kind of give us a rundown of
I
that.
played you that clip. It's fucking wild. Chad, we're gonna have to put that one in there because it's about 5 minutes long, but it's pretty wild. Maybe we can learn how to play clips over Zoom, but I don't know. It's about this guy was on this show, one of those financial shows. I don't know what it was, but it was talking about Evergrande and Country Garden, which are two Chinese uh property development companies. Evergrande was the largest in the world. Um, they went belly up. They had to liquidate because they couldn't afford to pay their debts. But this guy was saying that those two companies, Evergrande and Country Garden, have $500 billion in debt. Just those two companies. Which the host of that show said that it was that's greater than the debt of the entire Dow 30 combined, which is wild. Which is wild. Wild. It's I mean, the Chinese are fucked, basically, is where I'm going with this. Because you look at like their demographic decline, their numbers came out the other day, a couple weeks ago. It said that they've lost even more people. I can't remember what it was, but it was substantial. Like their population is actively declining. It's not going up. They're having like half a birth per person or something. It's wild. So their economy is about to collapse. It's going to drag everybody else down. This is going to be fun times, JD.
So I was just talking to someone the other day, and they were pretty convinced that China was going to invade Taiwan or do something to antagonize war with the U.S.
I think there's a strong possibility because you've got a massive unemployment situation going on in China right now. There's so many. So you got a bunch of because of their one child policy, you got a bunch of single men that can't get women because they would keep the boys and abort the girls, right? So there's a bunch of dudes that can't get any pussy. They don't have any jobs. The economy's on the rocks. You got a dictator that when things really get going and if it gets really bad, he could be deposed, right? So what do? You're in a precarious situation. You got all these unemployed guys. Put them to work. Send them to war. Kill them off at least. Saves you a little money on the back end. I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous situation.
So from the other side of it, we know their economy is in
shambles,
trouble.
Yeah, it's falling apart.
They've just realized that some of their military has been replacing rocket fuel with water.
Yeah, huge.
You got that. Your population is not replenishing.
Yeah, it's a country on decline.
And I don't know. And not to mention just as intertwined as the U.S. is with China with economic trade, I think that we're
not really that intertwined with them though. People think that that's the case. We actually export. Mexico actually exports more to the United States now than China does.
Yeah. Either way, they are intertwined some, right? Yeah. And with everything else. So like, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards I don't know that they want it right now. Like it may.
I don't think it's a matter of what they want. It's a matter of what they have to do. You might get to the point where he has to do something, he has to do something to distract people or whatever. And
he has to blame why it's gone to shit on somebody.
Yeah, he's got to do something. And he's got excess people, excess military aged men with nothing to do and nobody to hump. And they start to get backed up and they get anxious. And what happens when a bunch of anxious young men turn violent? Things can go crazy real quick. So it's better just to send them off to the slaughterhouse. See, I mean, they could win, probably not, but they could give it a shot. I don't think they could win that war.
I think our Navy is so much incredibly. I was just listening to something the other day and talking about the U.S. Navy versus the Chinese Navy. I know you've kind of talked about that before.
The U.S. Navy versus anybody, it's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
unbelievable
crazy
amount of power.
So
what's crazy? So when you look at the top 10 air forces in the world, the United States has 4 of them: U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy, United States Army, and the Marine Corps. Yeah, occupy the top 4 spots. Air forces in the world. So, and then you look at ships. We have 11 aircraft carrier. We have some that are mothballed. They could be pulled out of storage if they really needed to. We don't have a very big navy. I think we only have like 350-ish ships to China's 400 or so. Um, but all of our boats are, or I would say probably 90% of them at least, are blue water capable, whereas China, it's like 10% of their ships are blue water capable, which means they
And
can't.
just yeah, I was gonna say explain blue water capable.
Blue water means they can they so if you give me a brown water navy or a blue water navy, the brown water navies, they can't sail very far from the coastline. They have to stay close to the mainland because they have no way of refueling. They can't travel that far, whatever. A blue water navy can go anywhere. They can go all over the world. They don't need, so those ships are big enough and capable enough to go anywhere. Whereas a brown water navy can't do that. And most of China's ships are brown water navies. They don't have any large personnel carriers, so getting people to Taiwan would require them to use shipping containers and I mean um
Freighters.
freighters, shipping freighters and fishing boats and everything else to try to get people over there. So they can't do amphibious landings like the U.S. Navy can.
Yeah.
Damn phone. There's a lot they can't do. So, but also the other thing about China is they're incredibly vulnerable to like input disruptions. So like they have to import almost all of their fertilizer and feedstock for their agriculture. Almost all of it has to be imported. So the U.S. Navy just has to disrupt that, and you cause massive famine in the country within a year. You're gonna have people dying of starvation, and then their oil, it's almost all of it is like 90% of it has to be imported from the Middle East or somewhere nearby by ocean by tanker. They get a little bit from Russia. It's like barely 10%. So yeah, all you
Yeah.
have to do is disrupt the oil shipments and the food import shipments, and they're fucking toast. They're done. The only thing is they are nuclear power, so you
Yeah.
have to weigh that too. They could say, "Fucking, we're gonna fucking lose anyway. We're gonna take you out."
Oh.
That's fun. Nuclear energy makes things interesting.
So this border bill just failed. Did you see that? Or
I
I
saw that.
think they
Yeah, it's
think
good. I'm
it's
glad
gonna
it
fail.
did. No, it's gonna
Did
fail.
you
Good. It's a
yeah,
fucking joke.
did you see how much of it was funding for Israel and Ukraine?
Like most of it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then the other deal was 5,000
Yeah, it allows 5,000 illegals
a
to cross
day.
over a day.
That
5,000.
doesn't count children.
Yeah.
And it also is only after half of the year, the president
Mhm.
can say, okay, now it's 10,000 or now there's no
Yeah.
limit.
Yeah. And it also gave this Homeland Security Secretary the power to just give them blanket asylum with a pathway to citizenship, and it's a
Yeah.
fucking awful bill. And it would also limit the power of the states to challenge the policy of the federal government in court, which is crazy.
Yeah. The whole thing was yeah, it was garbage.
Yeah,
It
from
was
the very
garbage.
beginning. Yeah.
So one thing though, on the border, I haven't heard anything in the last week or so about the border, Texas, the National Guard down in Texas. So I guess this was my prediction on this whole Abbott having the National Guard kicking putting the fences up. I don't think that Biden is going to do anything. I think he's going to. I don't know if I said this or not. I think he's going to Homer Simpson back into the bushes with this whole
He's gonna
Texas
have
border
to.
thing
He's
because
gonna
it
have
just
to.
doesn't play well.
You got
And what a stroke
half of the
of
states. Yeah.
what
Go
a
ahead.
stroke of genius was it to. And I know this is going to get hate. This is probably a good one for TikTok there, Chad. But the busing of the migrants to the blue cities,
Yeah. Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that ends up being a stroke of genius if you look at it for a Republican,
For sure.
for the Republicans, because now you have lefty Democrats in blue cities going, we can't handle this. Something's got to be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was the whole point, because they
Right.
were over there saying, we're sanctuary cities and whatever, blah blah blah, and no people are illegal. Okay. Abbott's like, all right, well, hold my beer, man. Here. If you don't think if you think we can handle this shit, just because we live on the border, let's see how you like it. And he's been sending. They said that Texas has spent 124 million dollars busing those people up there.
Oh, why don't they just buy like 10 or 15 buses?
I was wondering that too because because
now they're talking about suing the bus
New
companies.
York, New York State was going to sue the bus companies, and I'm just like, well, if that happens, just buy the buses and do it yourself. You already spent 124 million dollars.
Yeah,
so I'm all for it. Whatever. Buy the fucking buses yourself.
You just haven't heard anything, and the fences are not that. They're not coming down.
They're not going to come down.
They
because
say
the border patrol. The border patrol's already said they're not going to go in there. They're not going to start a fight with the National Guard. They're just not going to do that.
And they said they support Abbott's move. The Border Patrol Union said they support this.
I would guarantee that the Border Patrol agents are totally in favor of stricter border controls.
Yeah. Well, but now the migrants convoys and everything, they've shifted to Arizona because you have that blue governor now in Arizona, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah.
But which,
it's going to get wild in Arizona too.
It is. It is. And I imagine, I can't see how that dude stays. Arizona.
I wish they'd shift just to California and go up there and fuck those motherfuckers.
That's maybe what California wants. What did they lose a Senate seat or whatever last year because the population
lost a house seat. They're not going to lose a Senate
house. Yeah. Excuse me, a house seat. Yeah. Maybe that's what they want.
Have you seen these people? Have you seen these people driving around with the Apple Vision Pros on?
No.
You haven't seen that?
No.
There was a video of a guy who got pulled over. He's in his car and he's in his Tesla, right? So he's got the Tesla on autopilot. And he's got that stupid thing on. And he's up there because you don't need a keyboard and mouse. You just move your hands and do everything. So he's in his car doing this, doing whatever the fuck he's doing, not paying attention to the road because the Tesla's the one doing the driving. So the cops pulled him over, gave him a ticket for that. I've seen people in subways. They're just moving their hands around like wearing that stupid thing.
So what is that? Because I don't even know what is the Apple Vision
Pro? Apple Vision Pro. It looks pretty awesome, actually. I hate to say it, but it's a virtual reality headset that is like a built-in PC, built-in computer, and it's pretty cool. I don't know. Look into it. It's most people that
is it for gaming?
No. I'm sure you can play games on it, but it's just a VR headset. You can watch movies and you can type and you can do whatever you want. Yeah. I saw a video where a guy had one on and he was working on his car with that thing because he had YouTube up. You can have a screen off to the side in your vision. And so he's working on the car and then he'd look over at the screen with his head to see what, and he's following along with YouTube. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I saw a Tesla truck the other day for the first time in person. Cybertruck. And I had heard people say, oh man, they're cooler in person. Wait till you see one in person. They're cool in person. And I saw one in person and it's just as ugly as they are on pictures.
Couldn't agree more. They're awful. They're so stupid. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever.
I wanted to like it, but
I didn't. And when I saw the original concept, I'm like, no, this is a piece of shit. This is not what a truck looks like. Whoever buys this is a douchebag.
Yeah,
it's that simple. They're douchebags.
It's got to be so you say you have it, right? Like that's why the guy's buying it.
That's all it is. He's just.
I got the Tesla truck. Yeah. I got this triangle thing.
Yeah, this thing out of Tron or whatever.
Yeah,
my buddy. I'm gonna talk shit about him because I love it. So my buddy's got this good job. He makes pretty decent money. And he likes to show off. He likes to, flaunt his stuff, but he's kind of low key about it, but he does like to do it. So when he got this big job, he went and bought a Tesla Model S. And I ridiculed him for it because he bought a used one. It was only a couple years old, but he bought a used one. And he paid a lot of money for it, because it's a Model S. And I was like, why didn't you just get the Model 3 and you could have got a brand new one for the same amount of money you got a used car for? He's like, no, this was a good deal. Like, you just want to show off because it's a fucking Model S. That's all it is. You want to be the guy driving around the Model S, which is the top of the line car, right? Well, the other day, his fucking battery took a shit. So he's got it at the service center right now getting it worked on. They might have to replace the battery, and he's hoping that the warranty is still in effect to take care of the battery. If not, it's going to cost like 20 grand to replace the battery.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been giving him nonstop shit about it. I'm like, well, you could have bought a new car for the same amount of money, but you had to show off. You had to be the big man.
Buy that Tesla.
Get that fucking Model S.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
what else you got going on? What
There's
else?
there's a let's see. So Seattle, they passed a piece of legislation, the city council did, called pay up legislation. Let's see. Basically it adds extra fees to like Uber Eats and DoorDash and all that, to try to get gig workers up to the minimum wage. And they passed that a couple weeks ago. And uh surprise, surprise, guess what happened? People quit using those apps. They quit using them because they cost too much. Like this one lady in this one article I read said, let's see, she
It's
says,
like a
quote,
form of price control.
yeah, well, you're already paying a lot of money for these apps. I don't know if you ever ordered anything off them, but it basically doubles the cost of the food because you got to pay the delivery fee, you got to give a tip, you got to give blah 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 blah. It costs a lot of money to have, like, you order a $12 meal from whatever, and it's going to end up costing you $20. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, yeah, you do it. It's for convenience more than anything, but to me, it's not worth it. This one lady, let's see. Yeah, she said, I ordered like a $12 sandwich, but then that $12 grew to $32 because of all those fees that Seattle has imposed. So these workers are now sitting around not doing anything. Like
Not working at all.
One guy went from making $900 a week to $400 a week because of this new bill. Because nobody wants to order off these apps anymore. Cost too much. The point of this is liberals are real good liberals are really good at um, identifying issues, but they're really bad at coming up with solutions. They're really bad at it. Their solutions are usually authoritarian and wrong. So
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm glad it's happening to people in Seattle because I fucking hate Seattle too. That whole left coast just needs to be jettisoned from this country.
So I just read a book.
No way.
I listened to it. I didn't read it.
I think you read it. Everybody knows you don't know how to read.
Yeah. It's called 9 Years. Where is it at? 9 Years with the Indians. Among the Indians. 9 years among the Indians. This guy, Herman Lehman, was kidnapped in 1870 at 11 years old and lived with he was kidnapped by the Apache and then at some point left, joined up with Comanches, lived with the Comanches.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So joining up with the fucking Taliban or something.
Yeah. So by the time in 1879, by the time he made 11 years old to what, 9 years, so he's 20 when he is reunited with his family and lost English, or no, German, excuse me, lost German because he was a German settler down somewhere near Fredericksburg, Texas, which was where he was taken from. But anyway, if you ever wonder if you've ever wondered what that time was like with the Plains Indians and the savagery, I'm not calling Indians a savage, I'm saying just the savagery that was going on in that time on all sides, read that book because
pretty good, huh?
Boy, it's some brutal business. It's a good book wrote by him, I think in the 1920s.
What's it called?
9 Years Among the Indians. Kidnapped by the Apaches and then lived with the Comanches. Ended up being like a adopted son of this guy. Ended up being like adopted son of Quanah Parker.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think Quanah Parker was actually the one that later on convinced him to go. His family wanted him back, and he had convinced him to go. But anyway, yeah. I'm sitting there, I'm listening to that book, and I'm like, good Lord, our life is easy.
Oh, for sure.
It's just insane. And I knew it, but it really comes across. I mean, I knew how hard it was there, but it really comes across in this book. I don't know where this book, if it's very, if it's something a lot of people read, but it's definitely worth listening to, reading, whatever.
You get that on Audible?
Yeah, it's on Audible. I think it was free actually too.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That Spotify, you can listen to audiobooks on that. You can only do not 17 hours a month.
Oh, really?
I blew through that in like 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah, I'm waiting on points on my Audible right now.
Yeah, I got.
So
I should be getting one pretty soon. 9 Years Among the Indians by Herman Lehman.
Yeah, I'm waiting on it so I can get Jedediah Smith, Mountain Man.
That? Oh,
one of the first Mountain Men. Looks like a pretty good book. Waiting on my credit, on my Audible credit.
Oh yeah, this one's free. So okay, I'm gonna add that to the library.
Free on Audible right now.
Hell yeah, 5 hours long. I can do that. Yep. I'll knock that out tonight.
Good book. Well, I got nothing else, man.
I don't either. So,
cool.
Hopefully this was entertaining. If not, I don't know what to tell you. Go somewhere else.
All right, next time.
All right, see ya.